Welcome back, rivals. This is Xonia, and you are in the zone. Let's all just pretend that you didn't read the title of the video before clicking the link because you were so excited to see the new video. Today we're going to be looking at another top 25. That's right. It's time for my top 25 3-star cards in UR. Before we get started, I just want to say again, thank you to everyone for helping reach 50 subscribers. Again, it's a small milestone for me, and I'm really happy to be able to be making these for you, so thank you all so much again for subscribing to my channel, and I hope that I can continue to make videos that you are excited to see each week. Also, full disclaimer before we continue, I'm fairly certain this video will do little more than make most people angry who watch it, because there are just so many good 3-star cards in UR, that there will undoubtedly be a lot of cards that I leave off that you are going to be upset that I did not include. So please check below in the comments if you'd like to see a list of the other 3-star cards that I thought were really good, but I felt just slightly got edged out. I know it won't fully make up for not having them in this video, but I want you to know that I didn't forget some of them, and that it doesn't mean that I think that they're garbage, obviously. There are way too many good 3-star cards. Doing a top 25 for 3-star cards is infinitely more difficult than a top 25 for 2-star, because, well, let's face it, there are way less epic and amazing 2-star cards than 3-star ones. And 3-stars are the kind of the bread and butter cards in UR, while 2-star cards are what I would consider to just be appetizers. So without further ado, let's get to the Flame Wars. The top 25. Let's see what we'll be covering today. Today we'll take a look at the history again, then a quick breakdown of the clans and rarities of 3-star cards, rules for choosing my top 25, and then the top 25. As always, I was interested in the history of the 3-star cards in Urban Rivals, so here's a quick list of all the 3-star cards that were released during the launch of UR on February 13th, 2006. These cards include Chico CR, Juicy Lord, Sadie, Sid Nose, Tunid, Natrang, Otome, Tatane, Windy Moore, Jia Lemming, Brutox, Lilith, Mayan, Vryer, Acid DC, Akiko, Berserk Girl CR now, Brandon, Keanu, Otaku, Amaral Pi CR, Bruce, Flavio CR, Jane Ramba CR, Mitch, Aldo, Lino Borsa, Liz Turia CR, Altavia, Zodiac, Dolores Boss, Gwen, Noon Stevens, Shawoman CR, Tanya, Atawopet, Narendra, Noodle CR, Sunny Goat, Yaman, Aldebaran CR, Cassiope, Orion, Pulsar, Uranus, Carlos, Josh, Melissa CR, Robin, William, Chadbred CR, Gaia, Mac Hen, Nanook, Ras CR, Tafa, Armanda CR, Frankie High, Gina Glit, Mava, Modefalco, and Zatman. As for the first 3-star cards that were released after that, well, in the very first release on March 24th, 2006, Ignis and Flyer came out. Following that, on April 10th in 2006, Svetlana was the next 3-star to be released. And the last we'll cover today on May 22nd, 2006, Ice Gym. I was also curious about the first few rare 3-star cards that were released. Of course, the first rare 3-star cards were Sadie, Berserk Girl CR, Gaia, and Ras CR, which all came during the initial launch of UR. Berserk Girl was next, so she was reinvented and became CR before December 22nd, 2006. Following that, March 2nd in 2007, Elia CR came out. Then, the release of Freaks on April 27th, 2007 gave us Boris CR, and then the retuning of Ras CR into Ras on June 29th, 2007. Next, let's take a look at a breakdown of all the 3-stars by their clans and rarities. As of October 9th, 2015. As you can see, of the 405 3-star cards in the game, there are currently 35 3-star CRs, of which, by my estimation, about 16 are still playable, with Pussycats having the most CRs, 4. There are 15 3-star LDs and 59 rare 3-stars. Of all the clans, Junks has the most rare 3-star cards, with 6. It seems UR's been giving Junks a few too many of the 3-star rare candies, if you get my drift. Their 6 is 2 higher than any of the next highest clans. Notice also that 6 clans still only have 1 rare 3-star card. And also, after 2 years, Hurricane still has 0 3-star rares. The clans with the most uncommons are Bangers, FPC, Geist, Piranhas, and Uppers, with 7 each. As for commons, All-Stars has the most, with 10. A few other interesting things of note are that Frozen is the only clan with an equal number of common, uncommon, and rare 3-star cards currently. Finally, did you notice one clan with an abnormally low number of 3-star cards? Well, Jungo. They have fewer 3-star cards than Berserk, who happens to have an unusually large number of 3-star cards. Just like Uluwatu. Surprising, since I feel like I don't like most of the 3-star cards in both of these clans, which is perhaps a byproduct not of being strong, but of UR struggling to find balanced 3-star cards for those clans, and finding themselves with chronic issues of making 3-star cards either slightly underpowered due to the difficulty of balancing the clans, or sometimes even slightly overpowered. So, when I rated the 3-star cards, I tried to keep a few rules in mind. 1. The card must be fully leveled at 3 stars. No partially leveled cards. 2. Is it conditional? How does it handle outside of its condition? 3. Is it mono only? Which was a real detriment to a lot of cards this time around. 4. How well does it perform its function of defeat, DR, etc.? 5. How well does it work with other cards in its clan? 6. How solid is the card versus SOA, SOB, or various types of power manipulation, pill manipulation, attack manipulation? And can this card be used against 5-star cards and be worth the pills needed for number 7? Of course, artwork, bio, and enjoyability to play are also minor factors in choosing my top 10. Popularity helps, but it does not guarantee a place on my list. As always, I don't really care if such and such a card sells for more on the market than another one. Rarity, card hoarders, time of release, a clan's usefulness in ELO, and many other factors can all be outside influences that affect the price in ways that don't accurately represent which ones may actually be the best. There are also 2 major limitations that I'm placing on my list this time. Since there are a ton of 3-star cards, I have limited to no more than 2 cards from the same clan. Now yes, you probably use more than that in your deck, especially if it's mono, but I would just end up putting the maximum number from my personal favorite clans, and I really want to try and get at least 1 card from over half of the clans onto the list if possible. Besides, I don't think you want to watch a top 25 with nothing but Frozen and Sentinel 3-star cards now, do you? Also, when you're running a half deck, 2 3-star cards is probably what you're going to aim for most of the time, so that's another reason why I'm going to keep to 2. Second, I will not choose any CR cards. It's pretty obvious that Listeria CR would be anyone's top pick, and so that makes her as a choice boring and unhelpful. I think we can all agree that she'd make our top 25, if not top 3 or even 2. So I want to try and make these top lists a bit more interesting, so you at least kind of wonder what my top few cards might actually be. It's more fun that way, I think, and it lets us focus on the cards currently available to everyone through packs, which I think is also a really important thing to do. Now, I know some of you may be thinking now, seriously? No CRs? But that means Rob CR, Dolly CR, Chiara CR, and lots of other greats aren't going to get mentioned. Well, I mean, don't you think including those would make this list way easier for me to make? Let's both push ourselves to avoid taking the easy way out. Besides, everyone already knows that Rob CR is great. Everyone already knows that Chiara CR is a fantastic card. It's not like everyone is going to forget or overlook them just because they didn't make it onto my personal top 25 list. In the broadest sense, what I'm going to be looking for in 3-star cards is a 3-star card that you find yourself often actively playing around, And by that, I mean perhaps it's a 3-star card that is round-breaking, one that you often save your best cards to go against, one that you may build an entire deck strategy around, ones that are not only good, but that you may actively try to avoid during a match. Because there are just so many good 3-star cards, a lack of versatility or any significant or unnecessary conditionality may be enough to knock even some of my own favorites from the top 25. Again, this does not mean that your cards are bad, it just means that there were 25 other cards with better base stats, more versatility, and or less significant conditionality, who were leaders in their own clans, and that I just happen to think were a little bit better. As always, my list is not the definitive one, it's just my own opinion based on my own playstyle and preferences. I promise that I didn't leave your favorite off on purpose if it's not there. Please remember that I'll be leaving a list of those 61 3-star cards that I considered for the top 25 in a comment down below. So, you can see if your favorite almost made the list at least. After all, no one wants to watch a top 61 list. So without further ado, here we go. In 21st through 25th place, we have Elvira, Edwin, Bristone, Gina, and Tiwi LD. If I had to label this group, I would say that this is my cut your losses group. Elvira shuts down your ability and forces you to pill over her. She has low power and her 4 damage won't end the match, but that won't keep her from messing up whatever plans you once had. As for 24th place, Edwin is a nightmare to face. Pun intended. As a mid-level power manipulator, he can go toe-to-toe with many 5-stars, and if he gets that power gap lead, you're in big trouble. Completely destroyed by protection power or SOA though, and he only has 1 power lead. Bristone and Gina are a pain no matter what match they're in. Just accept it, your damage is going to be reduced. While Bristone has more power and Gina has more damage, neither particularly matters since you don't really want to win the round anyway, generally. Maybe you'll play 1 pill and try to sneak it in, but otherwise, it's all about the DR, and Gina has 1 more than Bristone, putting her in 22nd. In 21st place, Tiwi LD is the kind of glue that Frozen needs. They need to lose round 1, and ideally gain life back. So if the opponent only has 1 SOA, he can also soak it up. The all-utility DR that always gives 3 back, since there's no min, and who can even morph into a semi-surprise 8-5 on a low hand draw, Tiwi LD is an amazing card for Frozen, even if he's pretty easy to predict. In 16th through 20th place, we have Plunk, Shell, Grace, Glover, and Skopica. If I had to label this group, I'd say that this is the Utility Abilities group. Plunk is an amazing card, with his main flaw being that it's too easy for him to win the round with 8 power. The ability to reduce the pill gap by 2 and force your opponent to wonder if you want that 4 damage instead? Well done, Plunk. I have no idea how many pills you're going to be played with. In 19th, Shell is the first 3-star to let Uluwatu enter back into the current meta of big damage 3-star cards. 9 power? Fantastic. Plus life per damage? Awesome. Just beware DR or SOA. Grace, on the other hand, mows down opponents, especially since she can go literally all in with Fury on round 1 and get half her pills back. If you get too far behind in pills, the game is already over against her. Yikes. Again, please beware DR and SOA. Glover is just an amazingly solid card. The fact that he's basically 9 power easily gets unnoticed. I overlooked Glover for a long time, and I never understood his price remained high for so long. But now, after playing a few missions with him in La Junta, I'm well aware that he is an absolute monster. Skopica, in 16th place, also evaded my eye for a long time. I love 2-hit KOs, so Skopica never really seemed like my cup of tea. However, she's basically an undr'able 8-6 that can remove your chances for a 2-hit KO instantly, which is exactly what Jungo wants, since they want to out-life gap you and not 2-hit KO you necessarily. If you understand how Jungo's supposed to work, then it's easy to see just how great this card really is. Just watch out for cancel life cards. In 15th through 11th, we have John, Oscar, Rattle, Tengu, and Tremor. If I had to label this group, I'd say this is the power overwhelming group. I didn't know that StarCraft cheats worked in UR as well. In 15th and 14th are John and Oscar, basically the exact same card minus the amount of attack manipulation, which is the only reason that I placed Oscar a little higher than John. These two cards are a huge pain. On top of the fact that they can go toe-to-toe with Uluwatu, if you're only boarding 7 power, your chances of winning just flush themselves down the toilet. Perhaps you may be wondering why Rattle is placed above them then. The answer is relatively simple. He's slightly more resistant to SOA, and he does 1 additional damage. Additionally, when his power works, his power cap is better than Oscar or John's, despite the amount that you have to pill over Oscar or John's attack manipulation. Tengu also placed above Oscar and John, as well as Rattle, due to his base 6 power and great attack manipulation, despite having 1 less damage. Just make sure that you're playing him early to maximize his bonus's use. In 11th, just outside of my top 10, is Tremor. Everything from here on is in a league of its own, absolutely dwarfing the competition in terms of stability, usability, and specialization. I absolutely hate Tremor. His ability of -2 pills, min 1, is horrifying. He does decent damage, and he has attack manipulation. He's strong against SOA and SOB, is usable on all 4 rounds, and is effective against DR thanks to his ability. Tremor is the epitome of a stable, all-around, strong 3-star card. Yet, he's still only made 11th on my list. Why? Well, see, when it comes to 3-star cards, it's wonderful to have a solid 3-star card. But often, I actually prefer to have a little risk in my 3-star cards for the payoff that they may bring, or their inherent ability to just crush the enemy. Especially on low draws. You need some of that in your 3-stars. As you'll see, the payoffs on my top 10 cards are generally, in my opinion, worth far more than a stable card when they do work. So, of my top 10, only 2 more cards made it in for their stability. Without further ado, let's get into my top 10. In 10th place, from the Bangers, Tasty Taste. Bangers is plagued with a ton of decent 3-star cards. Tasty Taste is an absolute monster. How many other 10-6 3-star cards can you think of? None? 1? Yeah, me too. In 9th place, from FPC, and recently covered in my FPC review, is Zutang. What a great card, even if his bio is a bit, well, let's just say strange. The Destroyer of Hope, as I'll call him, is one card you will always find yourself playing around. Rarely does a nuke come in such a small, relatively stable, great package. 8th place goes to All-Stars Amir. Never has cricket been so deadly. Even Rob has to bow down to Amir's effectiveness. An absolute beast and round-breaking card, when Amir works, the game is over before it begins. In 7th place, we have PC's Clover. -5, min 1? Yes, please. 5 damage on the DR? Yes, please. This little beauty is an instant staple in any PC deck that isn't bound by ELO bans. In 6th place, from Sentinel, Earl. Why? Sentinel? Seriously? Come on, you are. I know you love Sentinel, but why Earl? I hate this card. I hate it so much. It's so good. Almost everything is pulled under by his min by round 3, and with his clan's attack manipulation, you can generally just ult until round 3 or 4, and then guarantee a win with Earl. Seriously, Sentinel, I hate you so much. I don't even care that Earl is your only rare 3-star card. That hardly makes up for it. Does anyone have some DR that I can borrow? So, who made my top 5? In 5th place, and perhaps one of my more controversial choices, from Montana, Mona, the 8-power Dragon Slayer. Oh, how cute. You're trying to get over Montana's bonus? Here, have 2 pills. Go ahead, spend 5 at least to beat me. What's that? I played 4 pills? You lost? Mona is the perfect example of the current dominance of the attack manipulation plus power manipulation combo. Spend those pills! In 4th place, one of the 2 cards that made it in due to stability, from All-Stars, again, is Saki. Does Saki lose to any card in the game? I mean, seriously, I want to know, because I'm pretty sure that she only exists to make people cry and pray that they have some DR that they can throw against her. If you could think of one card that Saki really does get completely destroyed by, leave it in the comments below, because honestly, I can't think of one right now. Up next, it's time for my top 3 3-star cards. So, in 3rd place, from Freaks, is the cow-carrying queen, Olga. Just throw your SOB. You do have some, right? I sure hope so, because you're not winning this round. Olga beat out Saki solely due to her 1 extra power. Saki's only better versus attack manipulation clans, and Olga's potential to do far more damage puts her just barely above Saki in my eyes. In 2nd place, from Sacrom, we have Uranus. No big surprise here. Uranus is widely used in T2 Survivor decks because her ability is just so powerful. Combined with her attack manipulation, you've even got a pill over her because she'll do 5 damage to you. She's a 3-star version of Arno, but her offensive capabilities are even better. As stars increase, I want more offensive ability, so Uranus is the holy grail of 3-star damage reducers. Bring your SOA, or pray that you have protection damage, because otherwise you may as well just give this round up now. And last, my top 3-star card, and the only other card that made it in for stability. This is one of the most frightening cards in the game. From Uppers, Zatman. 8 power? Check. Decent damage for a 3-star? Yep, 4 damage. Check. Attack manipulation? Double check. Low minimum? Check. Do you know how many huge attack manipulation cards get 8 power? The answer is almost none. Do you know how many cards have over 12 attack manipulation? Of course not. It's my job to tell you that, right? That's the kind of trivia you watch these videos for anyway. The answer is 35. Plus all of the Hurricane in ELO for at least round 1. Let's take a look. A brief glance at this chart quickly shows why Zatman is so scary. 19 of plus all of the other Hurricane are all conditional, which leaves only 15 cards left that are not conditional. 8 of them, plus a few Hurricane, have unacceptably low powers, below 5. 17 plus many of the Hurricane also only have 6 power, and all remaining cards, aside from Hurricane's Lumberjack, have less base power than Zat. For those with less than 5 power, this disqualifies 4 more, so we'll let the 6 power or higher survive for now. That gives us 11 cards left. 19 have higher mins, and Zatman has the lowest min of them all, only bested by pure plus attack cards. This combined with only 6 power, to me, removes 7 more. Only 4 cards are left after this: Rowdy, Stella, Miss Stella, and Tessa CR. Only Tessa CR remains as a non-conditional card with decent power and a lower minimum than Zatman. 15 plus many of the Hurricane also all have more stars, and so one would expect that they should actually be much better anyway, right? Well, this remains the last remaining 4 cards. Zatman is in a class all his own. A 4-star labeled as a 3-star, much like how Jackie CR is a 5-star labeled as a 4-star. If Zatman has one flaw, it's that he only does 4 damage. But if he did more though, I think a black hole would open in the middle of UR and it would collapse in upon itself. So arguing he doesn't do a ridiculous amount of damage is an absolutely moot point. So quick, go buy Zatman! Stop watching this video right now and go buy him if you haven't. I'll wait for you to come back. You'll feel better once you do. Go ahead, pause the video. I'll wait for you. Did you go and buy Zatman? No? You just kept watching the video? Shh, kids these days. Never listening to your elders. Or something like that. Okay, fine. Well, don't blame me if he goes CR before you buy him. You'd better hope that they make him an RB and not a CR. Anyway, this concludes my top 25 for 3-star cards. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, then feel free to like it, favorite it, and share it. Also, don't forget to leave a comment below with what you thought, and even if you think I got everything perfect, which is highly unlikely, let me know some of your favorite 3-star cards. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.